Myself and Becky would like to take the opportunity to welcome Lauren about his family and friends and thank you all for coming on this special occasion. Myself and Becky are very proud of our daughter Lauren. She has grown into a beautiful, strong and independent woman, and together with Baz, their future is bright. Of course, growing up, she did have boundaries, obviously, broken off school to have a crappy cigarette at the local pub, but some other super tops and that. She loved animals, especially horses, and we were very proud when we got our first pony, which is called Pepper. More horses followed, and a few years next too. In Baz, she has found someone who is kind, reliable, and occasionally chucks out the odd funny story. But most importantly, it makes her happy, and is a good father to teach her granddaughters, Olivia and Ella, that the young Lauren has best of it, so I'm proud to call that as animals. It's also about two families coming together, so we are welcome Baz's family into our home. I hope we will all still be friends after England, Italy, I would just like to finish with a quote from the late great actor Richard Burton. Richard Burton once said that a woman accepts a man for what he is, and then spends the rest of her life trying to change him. So, we want to take one last look back, because no one's remodeling work starts in the morning. Finally, we would all like to be upstanding, and like to go to the class, and after that, the royal queen, Lauren Baz.
Get a better renting.
I also like to thank Tony and Becky for being such good in-laws and welcoming me to the family. And also my dad, Brady, Roger, Lorraine, Chris, my best friend, Kirsty, Kim, Anna, T, and my mother and my two girls as well. I'm missing in action. I remember the first time we met and had a conversation. It was in Wetherspoons in commercial rooms near here. And I had a split lip and Lauren had a black eye. Let me explain, it doesn't sound great at this point. It had been cold weather, and as a poor student I couldn't afford little chap Vaseline, or more likely as an unorganised student just hadn't got around to buying any. As a result, I had very sore lips. We were in this Wetherspoons and my bottom lip had already split earlier in the day, so I was doing my best to avoid smiling. Lauren had an eye infection, which made it look like she had a black eye. So here we were at a table, early evening in town, looking like we've been in a scrap, and I'm doing my very best not to smile, as if I do, I'm going to split my lip again. But how could I not smile when there was something special, something in a twinkle in this girl's eye that I'd never seen before? Probably black eye. Something that I had to smile at. So predictably, I find myself dabbing my bleeding lip in the mirror in the gents' toilet, not long after. But I'm not thinking about the pain or the red stain on my top that as a poor, unorganised student I can't afford to buy personal for, as I've spent all my money on much more important things like beer. No, I'm thinking about this beautiful girl with a black eye and how I'm going to keep her smiling. That was in reality a long time ago that led to this day, and it wasn't for 7 months later that I actually finally plucked up the courage to ask her out. That day, 7 months on, was my birthday, so I played it cheeky in the hope that maybe, just maybe, she'd give in and go out on me, as it was my birthday after all. Unknown to me, she felt the same way. Now, nearly 8 years later, here we are finally. I don't think to this day the feeling has ever changed. She's always made me smile, always been able to put up with me, been a wonderful mother, and now undoubtedly will be a wonderful wife. I'd like to raise a glass to my wonderful wife. And now I hand over to my dear best man who got some very far-fetched ideas about stories about me.
finished, he won't be thanking me. And a huge thank you to Baz and Lauren parents. And I can't help but say how wonderful Lorraine and Becky is today. And Lauren, I'll compliment you now, so hopefully by the end of my speech you'll finish blushing. You look absolutely beautiful. You really do look like one in a million. Whereas Baz, you look like one in a raffle. The speech is actually going to share many similarities with Baz. It's going to be short, it's going to be bold, and not very funny. But Baz, you are a lucky man. You've married Lauren, a beautiful, beautiful, smart, funny, warm, loving, and caring woman who deserves a good husband. So thank God you married her before she could find him. Now today is an actually extra special day for me, because not only am I immense friends with Baz, but I'm really great friends with Lauren as well. And I actually knew Lauren quite a long time before I met Baz. And I actually like to think I played a small but vital part in their first becoming girlfriend and boyfriend with a vital, still a matchmaking mission I embarked upon around 8 years ago. I remember us all being together in a club on the waterfront, dancing the night away, when, very surprisingly, Lauren pulled me to one side and whispered in my ear that she really liked Baz. Very surprisingly. I remember her saying, "He's really handsome from afar." Now she just thinks he's far from handsome. And later that same night, Baz had a quiet word with me, and not so surprisingly, said he too had feelings for Lauren. So I may have subtly passed on that information, and over the next few days, weeks, months and years, their love and relationship blossomed into something very, very special. And finally, you got married, for better or for worse. Which is quite appropriate really, because Baz, you couldn't have done any better, and Lauren, you really couldn't have done it. Now, I've talked a lot to people recently about you guys and what it means to be a best man and what it takes to make a really great best man speech. And a good friend of mine said the perfect best man speech duration should be the exact amount of time it takes for the groom to make love. So I'm very sorry I didn't finish after ladies and gentlemen. Another friend. I'm glad I got some laughs. Another friend said to let Baz know the best way to not forget your anniversary is to forget it. Once. I spoke to Lauren's mum Becky, and she said it's going to be such a wonderful celebration of young love. She said she can still even remember Lauren going to sleep with her pacifier. I said, don't you think that's quite ironic? Because now she's going to bed with a dummy. I actually have a few messages from people who can't make it here today. One which reads, to Baz, good luck on your big day. Speak soon, love from Jessie and all the girls at Babe Station. Another one from the Rise Technical lads, which Baz worked with, says, Dear Lauren, we've tried Baz in every position possible and found that he's useless in all of them. Hope you have better luck. A note I actually gave some of the Rise Technical guys last week on the stag night over in Dublin was if the night were to unlikely get a little bit dull, all you have to do to have a bit of entertainment is don't let Baz have his sneaky can of Red Bull in between pints. And no matter where you are, after about 4 or 5 pints, Baz will fall asleep. And you'll conveniently find yourself with a life-size set of buckaroo. So, if anyone actually wants to challenge me to a game of Bazaroo later on, I warn you I am current champion with a vase on the forehead complete with flour in 2011 and have the pictures to prove it. Baz has actually specifically asked me to refrain from mentioning any previous girlfriends, which unfortunately is going to cut the speech short by a good 3 seconds. He's the man of the day, so I respect his wishes. We're about halfway. I'd actually like to take a moment to talk about some of the Baz's accomplishments. I think we have time for both of them. Of course, the birth of his gorgeous girls Olivia and Ella, which many times Baz has told me was the most incredible and proudest moment of his life. And I'm sure today, tying the knot with their beautiful mother Laura is going to be right up there on his list hard to come by and it was to be quite shallow. For those of you who know Baz well will know that he has many strengths, but common sense and observation skills isn't really one of them. I fondly remember a time where me and Baz went over to Poland to attend a wedding for Christoph, a work friend of Baz's, when he worked for Clark Warehouse many years ago. And this wedding was actually celebrated over 4 days, and I'll never forget it, mainly because of this story. So day two into this 4-day wedding ceremony, me and Baz found ourselves back at the reception venue for the first time after the wedding, where we had a huge dining hall for all the foods, and we had a huge bar and a separate dance floor, but strangely enough, me and Baz found ourselves in a smaller room between the two, where you could help yourself to the free alcohol. And it was impressive. In one corner you had a huge, enormous chilled keg full of Ziviet lager. In another corner you had pre-filled glasses of champagne, and in the other corner you had glasses filled with red and white wine. So being the first drink after the wedding, and Baz being Baz, with us pretty much being the only 2 English guys there, and 3 straight days of free unlimited alcohol ahead of us, Baz must have thought we had some kind of stereotype to live up to. So then marches across the room, picks up a large wine glass, and starts to fill it from this tiny keg sitting quite a place in the middle of the room. I too pick up a wine glass, but more conservatively fill half a glass of red wine from one of the kegs in the corner. So we both have our glasses there, give a little turn and a waft in a sip, and leave them. Soon after, Baz says, "Jesus Christ, Chris, that's the strongest bloody wine I've ever tasted." So I take his glass, have a little sniff and a sip, and say, "That's because it's vodka, Baz." And not just any vodka. On closer inspection of this small miniature keg sitting quite in place in the middle of the room, it was Poland's finest 70% volume. So hysterically, Baz is then looking around the room, no doubt frantically looking for a plant pot to pour this expensive beverage into. When the groom, best man and friends burst into the room, drinks aloft in hand and say, "Nostravia! Nostravia!" which translates from Polish into English as "cheers, cheers, drink up." And so me being the good mate I am, look at Baz, give him a big pat on the back, say, "Yeah, Baz, bottoms up, and down my glass of wine." So it comes to no surprise that a small population of Polish men, women and children can also give you a very good game